You could be paying thousands in unnecessary interest right now simply because you picked the wrong math strategy. Or you could be stuck in a cycle of frustration because you picked the wrong psychological strategy. The truth is, paying off debt isn't just about how much you earn or how frugal you are. It's about the system you build to attack what you owe. And in the world of personal finance, two names dominate the conversation: the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. They sound like winter sports, but they are actually two very different mathematical and behavioral approaches to becoming debt-free. So, which one should you choose? Does it actually matter if you're trying to save money or just save your sanity? Today on Fiscal Beacon, we're going to break down both methods using real numbers, real psychology, and a clear path forward. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which strategy fits your life, and more importantly, how to start. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about the foundation. Both methods rely on the same basic rule: you must pay the minimums on all your debts except for one. That one exception is where you throw every extra dollar you have. The difference lies in which debt you choose to target. Let's start with the mathematical winner, the debt avalanche. The avalanche method is exactly what it sounds like. You list your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. You attack the highest interest debt first. Once that's paid off, you move to the next highest, and so on. Why do financial experts often call this the smart choice? Because it saves you the most money. Let's look at an example. Imagine you have 3 credit cards. Card A has a balance of $5,000 at 24% interest. Card B has a balance of $10,000 at 18% interest. Card C has a balance of $2,000 at 6% interest. You have $500 extra per month to put toward debt after paying all minimums. With the avalanche, you put that $500 entirely at Card A. Card A is the most expensive. By killing it first, you stop the interest from growing as fast as it could. Over time, as you close out Card A and move to Card B, the money you were paying on a now goes to B, accelerating the process. The beauty of the avalanche is efficiency. You are literally keeping more of your money in your pocket by ignoring the small, low-interest debts and focusing on the expensive ones. However, there is a catch, and it's a big one. Card A has a $5,000 balance. At 24% interest, it might take you 6 or 7 months just to pay it off with that extra $500. That's a long time. You might feel like you're making progress, but you aren't seeing any debt disappear completely. You're just seeing the balance shrink. For some people, that lack of a win is demotivating. It's like running a marathon but only being able to see the finish line when you're already halfway there. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin, the debt snowball. The snowball method, popularized by financial author Dave Ramsey, focuses on balance size, not interest rate. You list your debts from smallest balance to largest balance. You attack the smallest debt first, regardless of how high the interest rate is. Why? Because it gives you a quick win. Let's use the same example. Card C has a balance of $2,000. Card A has $5,000. Card B has $10,000. With the snowball, you ignore the 24% interest on Card A for a moment. You put all that extra $500 toward Card C because it's only $2,000. You might pay it off in just 4 months. When Card C is gone, you feel a surge of dopamine. You crossed a line. You are officially one debt closer to freedom. Now, you take the $500 you were paying on Card C, plus the minimum payment you were making on Card C, and you roll that total amount into attacking Card A. This is the snowball effect. The ball of money you're pushing grows larger with every debt you eliminate. The snowball method is slower mathematically. In our example, because you delayed attacking the 24% card on Card A, you will pay more total interest over the life of the loans compared to the avalanche. But for many people, the psychological boost of paying off a debt quickly is worth the extra cost. It builds momentum. It proves to your brain that you can do it. So, let's get specific. Let's look at the hard numbers. If you have $17,000 in total credit card debt across 3 cards, as in our example, the avalanche method might save you roughly $1,500 to $2,000 in total interest and shave a few months off your payoff time. That's significant money. But does that $2,000 matter if you quit halfway through because the snowball feels too slow? Conversely, does the snowball method cost you enough in lost interest that it's not worth the psychological win? This is the central tension in debt repayment. The Avalanche is the rational choice. The Snowball is the human choice. Here is where we need to be honest about ourselves. Are you a robot who loves spreadsheets and long-term optimization? Or are you a human who needs small wins to keep going? If you have a tendency to give up when things get hard, or if you feel overwhelmed by looking at a huge list of debts, the Snowball method is likely your best friend. The quick victories keep you engaged. You're more likely to stick to the plan for 2 years than 2 months. On the other hand, if you have high interest rates, like payday loans or high APR credit cards, and you are disciplined enough to ignore the urge to celebrate early, the Avalanche will save you more money. It's also worth noting that if your debts are small overall, the difference in interest between the two methods becomes negligible. If you owe $5,000 total across 2 cards, the math difference might only be a few $100s. In that case, pick the method that makes you feel better. But wait, there's a third option, a hybrid approach. You don't have to be rigid. Some people use a modified Avalanche. They look at their list and say, I want to pay off the highest interest debt, but I also want a quick win. So, they might pick the second highest interest debt if it has a very small balance. They tackle that one quickly to get a win, then switch to the true highest interest debt. This gives you the best of both worlds, psychological momentum and mathematical efficiency. It requires a bit more planning, but it can prevent burnout. So how do you actually start? First, gather your data. List every debt, the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. You can use a simple spreadsheet or an app. Second, commit to the plan. Write it down. Tell a friend. Accountability helps. Third, cut expenses or increase income. The extra money you use to attack debt doesn't come from magic. It comes from budgeting. If you're already living frugally, look at your income. Can you freelance? Sell items? Side hustles are the fuel for both the Avalanche and the Snowball. Without extra cash, both methods just take longer. Remember, the goal isn't just to be mathematically optimal. The goal is to be debt-free. A suboptimal plan that you actually follow is infinitely better than a perfect plan that you abandon after 3 weeks. Debt is not just a financial problem, it's an emotional burden. It causes stress, it affects relationships, and it limits your future choices. Whether you choose Avalanche or Snowball, you are choosing to take control. And that is a victory in itself. Let's recap. The debt Avalanche targets high interest rates first, saving you the most money. The debt Snowball targets small balances first, giving you psychological wins and momentum. Neither is wrong. The right choice depends on your personality, your discipline, and your specific debt structure. If you want a personalized plan, consider consulting a financial advisor. They can help you navigate complex situations like student loans or secured debt. But for credit cards and personal loans, you have the tools, you have the math. Now you just need the action. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who are struggling with debt. And if you're new here, subscribe to Fiscal Beacon. We break down complex money topics into simple, actionable steps every week. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to build an emergency fund so you don't fall back into debt when life happens. You won't want to miss that. Until then, keep your finances clear and